The Crown College Basketball Tournament starts today. How do we bet it? Who do we bet? That's one of the topics we're going to discuss. Krackman joining us first. He's going to look at the Utah Butler game and George W. G-Dub against Boise State. That was a terrible opening. He's also going to take apart a baseball game. Baseball fully underswing, Atlanta against LA. Adam Trigger after that. He's going to look at Nebraska against ASU and Georgetown against Washington State. We got Andrew McInnis. He's going to take apart all 4 NHL games going today, and we're going to end the show with the great Gianni The Greek. And where are all the wise guys betting? Where are the syndicates betting? Welcome, everybody, to WagerTalk Today. I'm Lawrence Presman, and if you have never joined us, stay with us all the way. This show is jam-packed with betting information. We have lined up the best bettors on the planet. We start right off the bat with Mount Rushmore himself, the Bill Krackman. How are you, Mr. Krackenberger? I missed you, brother.
Hey, good morning from Vegas here. Yeah, I'm okay. Just long weekend, long week. I'm so happy we've had a nice, successful run here, a good start. My biggest fear, was people not to realize what long-term is. And, I had a day there where I had 0 winners, but as we see now, it's been really good. I've had a nice little run here at WagerTalk and look forward to this tenure here as we go on. So, yeah, everything's good. All right, Prez, how you been? Everything good?
Dude, I've been awesome, man. I just got back from a ski trip. I have like a little bit of a raccoon thing going because you wear goggles all day. And betting wise, brother, I'm on an 11-1 run for my clients. 13-2 in the last 4 days of betting. I'm on a 6-0 NHL run, a 5-0 college basketball run, a 5-1 NBA run. I won my baseball yesterday. I mean, I'm a pig in shit, bro. I am just pumped freaking up. But anyway, let's get into some actionable betting information. Now, we've got this Crown tournament starting. It is a day one, year one of this tournament. Tell us a little about it, and how do we bet a tournament like that, especially given that a lot of these teams have had some time off. It's kind of like at the end of the madness. A very interesting tournament. 4 games tonight. How do we bet the tournament conceptually?
Yeah, this is the first year we have this Crown tournament. It brings some interesting variables we haven't seen before. To start, these teams haven't even played in over 2 weeks. So who knows how sharp they'll be out of the gate. I mean, some of them have already lost their coaches due to getting fired or taking other jobs. Most importantly, oh man, and this bothers me. I was just talking to one of the legends in the industry this morning about this portal. It's open, so a lot of these players have already left their teams. Oregon State, for example, will be without their top 3 players who went to the portal. So, make sure you know who's left at coaching, who's left playing the games you're betting on. The portal thing, I don't know if we just created a monster here with this. They're just giving away this NIL money for the top 4 teams. So, we don't need to worry about motivation. But if you're looking at betting these type of things, I actually like to go under on some of these games. But I'm looking, again, at the first halves. It's just that pure number. I beat a dead horse telling a lot of people that these last 2 years. A lot of these teams may start slow from the break, first of all, and there's none of that garbage fouling at the end. So I like playing first half unders. When I first started betting serious money, first halves weren't even a thing. I really couldn't get down any money. But now I can get down some more money, so I look forward to the first half. So if you're looking at taking any of the overs in these games too, I look towards the full game with the chance of that foul fest, on the other side of that, what I was saying.
And I love that, Bill, and it makes total sense. I was going to mention, given the break that these players are on, the first half unders across the board. Now, we have no statistics to back this up, as this is day one of this tournament. But we're going to talk about this tomorrow. Four games going tonight. I agree with you. I think you can take the under blind in all four. We will ask Adam Trigger, who's up next, the same question on those unders. But let's get into our first game of the day. Utah playing Butler. Now, Utah is -2.5 here, and we have a fairly big total of 156.5. Utah's played to the under slightly all year. Butler to the over. Both these teams are mediocre at best. How do we attack this game?
Yeah, Utah has an interim coach since their coach was fired about a month ago. And they also lost two starters again to the portal. Like I said, Butler, on the other side, Butler has had really a terrible season. We're used to a lot better season from Butler. 14-19, I believe they are on the season. They have a good head coach, though, who's been there a while. And more importantly, it's the same team. So it should be a good game. It should be great competition, actually, here. The line 156.5. You have to remember, you don't have to have a bet on every team just because they're on TV. And we have a little break here for the Final Four. But, hey, we try to give you an insight of what's going on with all the games on the odd days that the big tournament's not here.
Bill Krackenberger joining us, everyone. If you have never bet Bill's plays, please do so, because Bill is honestly as good as it gets. And guys, I just want to quickly say something, because Bill, I was thinking about this last night, because we all say how great someone is. Adam Trigger, a phenomenal bettor, especially in college basketball and MLB, and Andy Lang's prop betting, Tokyo Brandon, maybe the best baseball bettor on the planet. We say these things about people all the time, and right now we're living in a world of social media, and we've got guys. There are guys up that have 250,000 Twitter followers. I have 8,000. 8,000, Bill. And I got to tell you, my brother, I don't work for any more. I barely tweet out. I'm probably the worst Xer on the planet. I can't deal with social media. Why am I saying this, Bill? Because in this day and age, I want people to understand that if you are betting the plays of a person who has 1 million followers, ask yourself what they are good at. Are they good at betting? Are they good at marketing in the world of social media? I have 8,000 Twitter followers. I'm one of the best sports bettors on the planet. There are tens, hundreds of kids that dwarf Bill Krackenberger's Twitter following. He is one of the best bettors on the planet. So please, guys, real quick, be careful out there. Don't get caught up in the garbage. We really have assembled the best sports betting team on the planet, and sitting right at the top is Bill, Marco, Steve Merrill, Gianni the Greek, Tokyo Brandon, Adam Trigger, and on, Andy Lang, Carmine Bianco. Don't get fooled by how many followers someone has. Bill, anything to add to that?
Well, it's a great subject. I didn't know you were going to talk about this,
Nor did I.
Oh, really? Yeah. I get like 4 million views a month because I do a lot of educational videos. I teach people. I talk about casino things. I talk about food reviews, some things, places here in Vegas. So I do all that. And I'm probably not a good marketer of myself and what I have done over the years and decades, working for the best sports betting syndicate groups in the world, getting great information out there, paying tax on sports betting when almost 30 years. Most people can't say that, and that's what I have done. Thrown out of many casinos for doing one thing, using my brain. But however, when it comes to the social media thing, I'm out there a little bit. I have about 55,000 and change followers. Like I said, I get probably about 5 million views a month between all my socials. But again, trying to teach people, But when I go on this Instagram and TikTok, which I don't even run, my assistant runs, and I hate it. I hate it for a couple of reasons. I hate it because a lot of people are just out there showing BS. And what Lawrence is saying here, all these kids with their fancy cars and their girls,
they're renting them.
They're
renting those. Bill, I have meetings with these people. These kids are trying to get on WagerTalk. This is where the money is. You want to make money in this industry, you get on WagerTalk. They rent those cars, Bill. This whole thing is a joke. Anyway,
These
sorry.
the kids are taken back by it. They love it. They see it and they want to be part of it. You know, when I did the Showtime show, Action, and the kids
It was
people were making
great.
fun of me. People were making fun of me for having a Kia. Well, that Kia is paid, and my new Kia is paid. So I don't have a yeah, you're right. I don't have the guy that was on there with his $500,000 car. I don't have that. And better yet, I don't want that. I use my money in a better way. I have every year I give back. I have donations. I have companies that that I'm involved with and stuff. You don't see any jewelry on me. I have the same wardrobe that I've had for years. I look buying some new of these Cuban shirts once in a while, but besides that, you're not going to see no fancy jewelry and fancy cars in my life. I don't do it
Yeah.
for clout. I know I can make a lot more money doing that, though, Prez. I can make an extra 6 figures a year,
Brother.
showing money and piles of money. If they see my account balances and stuff, they'd be like, "Oh my God, I don't do it. It's just not what I do. It's not me."
Yeah, you and me both. Bill Krackenberger joining us. You're watching Wager Talk today. Guys, take a second. Hit that like button, please. It really helps us out. Bill, let's talk George Washington. They're playing Boise State. G-Dub is plus 8.5. The total here is 141.5, substantially different to the total we spoke about in the first game. How do we bet this one?
Yeah, GW and Boise State go head to head here. They have their coaches. Imagine you have to talk like this now. They have their regular coaches. They have their full rosters from the season. Boise doesn't shoot it too great. They're going to need to control the boards a little bit to win this one. So this is, trust me, this, even though the spread is 8.5 here, 410 money line. Oh, by the way, guys, something I've been wanting to talk about. If you're betting an underdog, let's say you're betting George Washington. I'm not saying I'm betting them, but if I was to bet them, I'm going to find the best line. And guess what? Let's say you bet $100 on the game. You want to put 10 grocery dollars, $10 on the money line. Take in the 315 or search around for the best line. Real important, especially here in this town. You could find some great money lines in this town, the underdogs, because the public and the locals love to bet the favorite. So I just want people to say, take that bet and take 10% of it and throw it on the money line too, if you're betting these underdogs. But this might be a better game than people think, though. Here, so there's a little brush up there on this one.
Bill, just on that underdog thing, the great Mark Lawrence, really one of the pioneers of this industry and shoulders we all stand on. He always used to say to me, when you take an underdog, there's 2 ways to win that bet. When you take a favorite, there's only one way. So I love Mark, and anytime I get a chance to mention him, I will. Bill, baseball is underway. As I mentioned, I went 2-0 yesterday. I really focused on those first 5. And I think that's becoming a lot more prevalent in betting today, that first 5, especially with the pitching change and the rotations, etc. Let's talk about Atlanta and LA. This is a big matchup. Look, it's still early in the year, so ultimately none of this matters. But Atlanta has started off 0-4, whereas LA are 5-0. So an interesting dichotomy here. Something has to give. Atlanta's a plus 185 dog. Are they live?
Yeah, well, first let me go to that first 5 segment you talked about. Yes, I'm a first 5 guy. As you guys probably know already, I've had a couple selections first 5. So far, so good, unbeaten. But I have another one today. I do a lot of first 5s compared to regular game. I will do regular game also, but I enjoy the first 5s because it's a true line, just like the first half of a game, of a college basketball game. It's a true pitcher versus pitcher. You can get a good handicap. You don't have to put the middle relievers in the bullpen into it. I love baseball. It's what I grew up with. Going to games in the Bronx and Shea Stadium over the Mets. That was my life when I was a kid, baseball and boxing. So I actually enjoy this time of the year. When it comes to baseball, and believe it or not, I know people think baseball is boring. They think golf's boring. I love watching day 4 of an event. You got giant tournaments coming up, the Masters. This is a great time of the year for me. Going to talking about this particular game, Dodgers, like you said, 5-0. Atlanta, 0-4. LA is excited to see how this Glass now is going to look on the mound after he was shut down last August. He had some big elbow issues last year, I believe it was. Big number on this one. Like you said, the Dodgers are like 205, total of 8. You're not going to catch me laying any money. Probably the entire season, I will not be betting the Dodgers ever. even though they're great, I understand
Right.
they're 105 wins. In order to bet the Dodgers, you're going to be paying a tax every time in the form of laying extra juice on the Dodgers this year. Because guess what? The bookmakers know which way you're betting to. So I probably won't be betting the Dodgers this year. I've heard on multiple shows, so many shows, oh, just bet the Dodgers run line every game. Lay 1.5 runs.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay. I mean, it's amazing some of the people, just the things they say, just to because they have nothing else to say real. They may not bet their own money. They may not even know what it is to get involved with something like this. Bet every game blindly, laying a run and a half. Listen, like I said, I probably won't be betting the Dodgers at all this year. And not that they're not great, not that they're not going to win 100 games, but I just don't want to get caught up in a team that I'm laying 2-1. Listen, they're still going to lose 50 games, maybe 60. So I'm not going to be laying those big favorites. It's not the way I will lay a favorite. I will lay it more than the past. I was schooled in this industry of baseball betting. I'm betting 70-80% dogs. I'm 50-50 now. I have no problem laying up to like $1.30, $1.40. The rare occasion I'll lay a little bit more.
Yeah, I kind of draw the line at around minus 160, Bill. But I love what you're saying in regards to the Dodgers. And if we had more time, I want to unpack it. But really quickly, guys, what we're talking about here is, the same kind of thing happens with the Yankees and Boston in the sense that, do they have an army of bettors? Now, the Dodgers might not have the world's biggest army like, say, Manchester United would have. But this is a team that everybody is high on. So even regular bettors who are not Dodger fans are looking for this team to win. And the bookmakers know this. They are putting 10 to 20% tax on every Dodgers bet. The same thing happens with the Lakers. The same thing happens with the Yankees. The same thing happens with the Red Sox. And ultimately, back in the day when you were betting in your local environment, the same thing happened to you every day when you bet your favorite team. If you live in Idaho and you're betting Idaho, you're paying a tax. Bill, is this the same with the Yankees coming into this year, or the same with the Mets, or is this just a blanket statement on the Dodgers?
Especially with these juice bets that you're hearing about now over Yankee Stadium. You're going to be laying more on the Yankees every day. Listen, it's a built-in thing here in Vegas anyway. They're going to make the Yanks 5 cents more anyway, just based on them being the Yanks and the people wanting to bet the Yanks. Now it's even going to be more, though, that they hit all these home runs here and this different analytics took over the game again, like the old Moneyball movie, and they changed the bats here for Volpe and the whole team, basically the whole team. So you're going to be laying a lot more. The values are going to be betting against the Yankees in this town, that's for sure.
Bill Krackenberger, everyone. Guys, we got a great promo up for baseball, and I highly suggest you use this promo on a couple of different guys and really find out the rhythm that they have, what they like, and also the analysis that they write. You get 7 days of all of Bill Krackenberger or mine or Trigger or anybody who wants baseball picks for only $49. 7 days, all baseball picks for only $49. You can get that over at WagerTalk. No coupon code required. Bill, what do you have going for the clients tonight?
Well, I do have I have a first 5, and I'm gonna, listen, I don't play the volume that everyone else does. Certain things I know now, betting wise, if I go to the counter, I'm gonna bet a lot of things here in Vegas because I have certain line sets I can play that the customers can't get. I don't do that. I'm not going to front run a customer and say, oh, you can get this line at DraftKings, so you should bet it. No. I'm going to give you a widely available line that's obtainable. I don't play that game of giving you a line that's not obtainable. So I'm going to give out games that are obtainable, first 5 lines, full game lines too. So, baseball is going to be great. Listen, I think we have the best. I honestly do. I think I have the best team of guys that work with me and work for me in the world. I know what we've done over the last 2 decades. I know the thousands of bookmakers that have thrown me out for winning, for using my brain. I know what it is. So we're off and running again.
Yeah, guys, and Bill, get out of here. But I got to tell everybody, Off air, Bill was telling me no sportbook names. This guy is not allowed to bet parlays. He's like, his limits are lowered. He walks into a sports book, sports managers run in the opposite direction. I'm not exaggerating here, Bill. No, we won't name anybody, but I am not making this up, right?
Yeah. I was called about betting correlated parlays by one of the big sports books in town here and said, Crack, you can't bet these correlated. Now listen, correlated. I'm betting like Boston Red Sox and under when they're home, and the total's like 7, and that's like it's very slightly correlated. Home and under, road and away. It's very slight. I'm surprised. I'm not allowed to bet overnights.
Correlated parlays are an opinion, Bill. Get out of here, my brother. I love you. You're incredible. Guys, make sure to bet Bill Krackenberger's plays. Oh my God, are we lucky to have him. Before we bring on Adam Trigger, and we're going to take apart with Adam the other 2 college basketball games today, I want to make mention real quick that I started a new show today. We taped it at 10 a.m. Eastern time. It should be taped 10 a.m. Eastern time every day. Should be up on our WagerTalk TV channel around 11 a.m. every day. And that show is called The Blue Line. It is myself and Matthew Barnaby, and we take apart every single NHL game on the board. We also will have Andy Lang at the end of every show to give out prop bets, and we also have a guest that comes on who gives their opinion on a game of the day. We had no guest today because we wanted to really just sort of slide into the show quietly. It was our first show ever, was today. But on tomorrow's show, we're going to have the great Jeremy Roenick. So Jeremy Roenick will be joining Matthew, Barnaby, and myself to discuss the NHL card tomorrow. You guys can check that show up right now. It's over at WagerTalk TV. I'm really excited about this show, and maybe it is a little different kind of a Prez. More professional, if you will. Although I did mention an current NHLer's wife on the show today. Go check out who. The other thing is I'm rolling right now, guys. We'll talk about that as well. I lost my 5% play on Duke on Thursday. Guys, so many of you purchased my 5% play on Duke on Thursday, and it lost. And none of you purchased my card on Friday, and I went 3-0. And almost none of you purchased my card on Saturday, and I went 4-1. And almost none of you purchased my card on Sunday, and I went 4-0. That's right. I went 11-1 since my 5% play lost. But you guys seem to be really only interested in the 5% play. So please stop with that. Seriously, stop with that. I called head office this morning. I have a promo up for you guys. It's my entire all access, 7 days, every play, my 5%, 4%, 3%, 2%, my baseball, NBA, college hoops, all of it. 7 days, $77. Use the promo code PREZ7. Please. Let's not just isolate a play because it's 1% more important than a 4% play. Adam Trigger joining us. And Adam, you are rolling. Congratulations, my friend.
Yeah, it was a good week last week. Finally starting to kind of get like a run going. Unfortunately, I guess there's still a lot of basketball left. We're going to talk about that today. I love this Crown tournament. I can't wait for this one. Similar to the lesser tournaments, I always seem to do better in these. I went 5-1 in the CBI, and I plan to do the same in the Crown. So I'm fired up for this one today.
Yeah, dude. Well, let's get straight into it. Nebraska is playing Arizona State. 17-14 on the year for Nebraska, 13-19 for ASU, and Nebraska is favored at -5, a total of 154.5. How do you suggest we bet this game, Adam?
Yeah, so the big reason I like the Crown and some of these lesser tournaments is I really feel like being tuned in to the sport like matters, right? Like you need to know motivation, who's going to play, all of that stuff. Like you can assume in the NCAA tournament, everyone's going to give their best effort, but in a tournament like this, you really kind of need to know what's going on with each team. Now, I do think some of the roster stuff is probably baked into the number here. Arizona State's going to be down a whole bunch of guys. BJ Freeman left the team back in February. Joseph Sanon's now on St. John's. He's not going to play. Quintins is likely not going to play either. They're big. I'm hearing they could have maybe 7 players for this game, maybe 8. Now, that doesn't mean that they're not going to show up and give an effort. But I do think they might have a hard time against Nebraska, knowing sort of who they're going to miss. So I think Arizona State's going to be very jump shot reliant here. Nebraska does a really good job at denying the rim. And when you take guys like Sanon, who can get to the rim out, Quintins is kind of the main big. I do think this turns into Arizona State just launching up a lot of tough shots. Not necessarily what you want, in my opinion, against Nebraska. On the other side, you probably without Raleigh Worcester for Nebraska, but other than that, they seem to have everyone. And from what I can kind of tell, there's some upperclassmen on this roster. It feels like they might take this a little bit more seriously than maybe the average team in this tournament. So I didn't see a ton of line value here, Prez, at 5.5. I do think some of this stuff is priced in, but I won't really be surprised if Nebraska kind of wins this easily. Maybe you can, use their money line with something if you're looking for a money line piece, but I would lean toward Nebraska. I don't think this one's going to make my card, but certainly a lean toward Nebraska just having too much for the Sun Devils here.
Ad, it's interesting because they're minus 5.5, but the money line is minus 220. And I know that money line sounds high, but from a math perspective, it actually should be slightly higher. There might be more value on the money line here than on the spread. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've had some success, kind of using the 2-team money line, like short favorite parlays that come out around even money. You're at the time of the year where you're lacking options right now, Prez. So, listen, there's a whole slate of crown games tomorrow. We've got Final Four games this weekend. We've got NIT games. Probably a good opportunity. Let's say you like one of the favorites in the Final Four and you don't want to lay the points. Probably a good opportunity. Go Nebraska to the team that you want to play in the Final Four and lock that price in, because I do agree with you that money line feels short, and I'd be really surprised if Nebraska loses this game. I still like them at minus 5.5. I know there's not line value there, but just needing them to win, all things considered, seems like a pretty reasonable ask.
Andrew McInnis joining us right after Adam Trigger. He's going to go through all 4 NHL games. Gianni after that. Adam, before we get into the Georgetown Washington State game, Bill came on here and talked about taking the unders, especially in the first half, given that these teams have had such a break. I feel conceptually like that makes a lot of logical sense. Any thoughts?
Well, my only concern is that it feels like defense might not be super prioritized by everyone in this tournament. And then I'll take you back to last week. The CBI in the early rounds was just an absolute shootout. No defense was played. And then you started to see teams get to that last day and finally lock in a little bit. That would be my only concern with just coming out and playing unders, is that, teams are just not super locked in on the defensive end, and it turns into a little bit of a free for all. Even games especially late, if a game gets a little bit out of hand. There was one like Cleveland State in the CBI. Profiles as a pretty defensive team. They played Queens University, and it just got out of hand and then turned into just no defense, free for all, 160 points. So it's I don't really think that's an angle that you should be looking at unless it comes out and it's there's something venue specific that's messing with the teams. But I don't think at MGM Grand Garden Arena that's going to be the case. We've seen basketball played here plenty before.
Adam Trigger joining us, everyone. Guys, hit that like button. Subscribe to our channel. Adam, Georgetown. They're playing Washington State. Washington State is plus 3.5. There are 3s out there. Total 159.5. How do we bet this game?
Yeah, Prez. So this is one I did take this a little bit smaller at 3.5 minus 115, and it was kind of when I felt like the 3.5 was going to go away. I do like Washington State here, so my sort of handicap is this. I think you have to handicap these with the info that you know and try to make a number. So we know Thomas Sorber is not going to play for Georgetown. He hasn't been with the team. He hasn't played since mid-February. We know he's out. On the Washington State side, it looks like Nate Calmace and one of the Isaiah Watts, the two guards, are going to be out for Washington State. So I made the number 3.5 with those things sort of baked in. The big key here to this handicap is going to be Micah Peavy on the Georgetown side, whether he's going to play or not. I don't think anyone truly knows, Prez, to be honest with you. I don't think anyone truly knows if he's playing tonight or not.
Right.
But I will go as far as to say that my 3.5 number has him in. So, like, I'm willing to play Washington State at 3.5 with him in. If he doesn't play, that's just a huge bonus to me. And I think it would be really bad for Georgetown if he's out. Pretty much anytime Georgetown hasn't had Sorber this year, they've looked like a pretty bottom sort of power conference team. You take Sorber and Peavy out, and I just don't think that they're going to be able to win this game. Now, on the Washington State side, the two guards that they're missing are not like super, like, yes, they both are double-digit scorers, but they're not vital to like what Washington State wants to do offensively. Washington State runs their offense through their bigs. And the thing is, like, they're a good three-point shooting team. Believe it or not, it's the bigs that shoot the threes better. These are Calmace and Watts. Neither are great three-point shooters. So you're going to have a couple freshman guards back there playing extended minutes, but their job is going to be to get the ball to the bigs, run their offense as they would. So I don't think that this hurts Washington State a ton. This is a team, Prez, 12th nationally in field goal percentage, 49.1% from the field. They play through their bigs. They want to get a lot toward the rim. I think it's going to be kind of business as usual here for Washington State. Yes, they're still down a couple players, but not like it's going to be for Georgetown. If they're without Peavy, I think they really struggle. And with him, I don't know that they should be favored. So I took 3.5 here, Washington State, 3% play. And I guess we'll see how the day goes. I might bump this up to 4 if the number's still there.
Adam Trigger, everyone. Outstanding work and congratulations on your great run. What do you got to promote, my brother?
Yeah, so I have a 6-game winning streak going in college basketball. I'm also 9-4 on my last 13 5% plays. I do have a 5% play in the Crown in one of the afternoon games. So go ahead over right now and get that. That's in one of the early Crown games today. And again, it's been a really good sort of run the last couple weeks, college hoop, specifically in these lesser tournaments. I went 5-1 in the CBI. I've won in the NIT. I've been kind of waiting for the Crown to start for 2 weeks and got the spot that I wanted. So 5% play goes a little bit later today. WT.buzz/AT. We'll go for 7 straight college hoop winners this afternoon.
There we go. Adam Trigger, everyone. Andrew McInnis still to join. Speaking of going for 7 straight, I'm going for 7 straight NHL winners tonight for my clients. I have an NHL play. I have 1 college basketball play. I have 1 NBA play. It's a team total. And I have 1 baseball play. It's a first 5. I am on an 11-1 run. Guys, instead of buying my packages individually, please use the promo code PREZ7, P-R-E-Z or Z, PREZ7. You get 7 days, all access for only $77. Andrew McInnis joining us. And Andrew, right off the bat, I'm excited to have you with us. I know you're going away, and I'm hosting Puck Time Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I'm very, very excited to work with Carmine on this and to step into your amazing shoes. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Prez. Well, it was your show way before it was mine, but I appreciate your help and looking forward to getting away. And I just want to mention one thing. You were talking about people betting those 5% plays, and congrats to you on a huge run. But I'll tell you what, it's been frustrating for me a little bit because you talk about the great run you're on right now. I haven't really been on these huge runs. It's just been like a piece by piece thing.
Right.
So the long-term guys are doing well, but you won't catch me on the 3-day leaderboard a lot or 7-day leaderboard, but I'm number 3 this year in the NHL. Right. But I'm not kind of coming out every week with a 7-3, 7-2, whatever it might've been. It's just piece by piece. If we go 2-1, that's great. If we go 1-1, but one of the plays was plus money, that's great.
Right.
And that's kind of how I look at it. That's what I've changed this year about my handicapping approach. And, I've done these team totals. And the best part about it is that I've limited the juice that I've laid, which has really helped me a lot.
Yeah, and you've done amazing. And me and you talk about the stuff on a regular basis. Guys, before we get into it, and Andrew's going to take apart all 4 games. As I mentioned at the top of the show, we now have 2 NHL shows on this channel. Only one is live. Andrew and Carmine, live at 11 a.m. Eastern. The show is called Puck Time. It is spectacular. It is one of our flagship shows. Carmine and Andrew have built up an incredible following. Under no circumstances am I detracting from that show. I got a call from my good friend Matthew Barnaby. Matthew was like, and Andrew, tell me if I'm wrong here. Matthew was like, Prez, all my friends are doing shows, you got Splitting Chicklets and this show and that show. And he's like, none of them are doing it from a betting perspective. Why don't you and I start a NHL betting show and bring on all of these ex-NHL players? And I'm like, are you kidding? Will they tweet out? Sounds like... So we got Jeremy Roenick joining us tomorrow. I think he's probably got a big following that we can leverage off of. So I am super, super pumped. We got Roenick coming on. We got Mayday coming on. Just exceptional show, but it's not going to be competing with Puck Time. It is adjacent to Puck Time. Both shows are around half an hour long. Both are worth listening to. My brother... and we're going to be cross-working both. Andrew and Carmine will have time on the Blue Line, which is the show Matthew and I are, and I will have time on Puck Time. Andrew, let's get into it. New Jersey Devils, they're playing Minnesota tonight. This is a rapid revenge situation. Minnesota just lost at home to New Jersey 5-2. They are now plus 130. There's money coming in on the Devils. How do we bet this play?
Exactly, Prez. It is a rapid revenge spot. We have multiple actually on this slate here with the rapid revenge. 2 teams playing a little home and home series. But, we always say must win doesn't mean will win as far as the team that needs to make the playoffs. And you know what? Revenge doesn't always mean you're going to get it. And I think that's how I feel about this particular situation. I think the Devils sweep the 2-game set here. I think the Devils win both of them. And to me, this is a rare regulation play for me. I locked in at minus 105. In March, Minnesota, they were the 4th worst team in expected goals for. They struggled consistently to create offense. They had a couple good games in a row with 3 or 4 goals. Then all of a sudden they go right back to it again with 1 or 2 goals per game. This Devils team was hurting for a while without Jack Hughes, but they've really rallied around this new forward group they have to deal with. They've gathered chemistry now, and I feel like there's so much onus been put on these rapid revenge spots. And just don't get me wrong, there's certain situations where I want to look at it, but this one is not one of them. And like you said, money coming in on the favorite here in this one. Look at the team total, wasn't interested. Look at the team total under, wasn't interested. I think to me the best way to go here is the regulation side here on the New Jersey Devils. I don't trust the offense for Minnesota. They're far too top heavy right now.
Guys, we'll run the show late. Lots of time still for Gianni. Nashville and Philadelphia, my friend. Here is a situation where now we're at a time where it just doesn't matter to either of these 2 teams. Nashville's got to be sitting in the dressing room going, what the hell happened? Please let this end. And Philadelphia with their new coach, well, the reins are off. I like the over in this game a lot, Andrew. I'm telling everyone that right now. Where are you going?
I'm right in the exact same spot as you, Prez. I'm right there with you. I'll throw it out there as well. If you want to bet on some props tonight, I know you said you had Andy on your show and you're going to be having him on, but Michkov and some of these younger guys on the Flyers, Tortorella, he's, I think overall deep in his heart, he does seem like a nice guy, but we both know, Prez, he's a hard-ass coach, right? And that's the kind of coach that maybe some of these younger guys can't relate to as much and struggle with. Well, since Tortorella got fired, Michkov has 17 shot attempts and 10 shots on goal. I mean, this guy is just playing with house money now. He's playing a lot more free. Philadelphia is playing a hell of a lot more free, albeit they did play a Montreal team that was struggling defensively. Then they got to play Buffalo, but still putting up 2 huge numbers in their next 2 games after firing their coach. And, of course, Nashville, they have been up and down offensively, of course. I mean, a lot more downs than ups, coming off a game with just one goal against Vegas. But let's be real here. This Philadelphia team, they've been giving up at least 4 goals, and I think 5 of their last 6 games, their offense has gotten better. Their defense isn't getting any better. It's just their offense that's improved. So when you look at Nashville going off that loss against Vegas, what better team to bounce back and put some goals on the board against than Philadelphia?
Andrew McInnis, Calgary, Colorado. Huge game for Calgary. I don't know if they can get it done. They're running out of time. They're now plus 220. Money is pouring in on the Avs. Where are you going?
Well, look, I have to give credit to Calgary, Prez, because they've been able to find a way to get the job done, whether it was on the road against the New York Islanders, New Jersey Devils, these comeback victories, or just even getting a point in the overtime losses against some of these teams. But when it ultimately comes down to it, you don't want to face this Avalanche team off a loss like they are. And it might not seem like a bad loss, like, oh, they only lost by 1 against St. Louis. But when they only put up 1 goal, it's like they lost by 10. It's like an insult to the franchise when Colorado scores just 1 goal. Usually their power play scores 2 goals a night. This Colorado team has owned Calgary. They have long-term owned Calgary. But one thing I'm going to say is that Calgary is actually one of the best third-period teams in the league. They've been a really good comeback team.
Yeah.
The best way to approach this game, first period, minus a half goal, plus 114. I don't like to play these too often because, it is tough to win a period, especially the opening frame of the game. But Colorado will not be happy about their start and their whole game against St. Louis overall. If Calgary does well in this game, it'll be later on in the games. I think Colorado wins the first period.
What an incredible show we got going, everybody. Still lots of time. Andrew, one last game left, and that is Dallas against Seattle. And Matthew and I spoke about this, and I asked Matthew, have you ever remembered something like this? And the answer was no. Neither Matthew, who played 14 years in the NHL, or I, who dreamed about playing 14 years in the NHL, remember when a team played in another team's barn twice in a row. This is a scheduling quirk that I've never seen before. But Matthew mentions that he actually thinks the league should do it on a regular basis. It would save so much trouble. Just do 2 games there, 2 games there. Anyway, I don't know how that factors in, but what a weird quirk. 5-1 win by Dallas last time out. Seattle's got nothing to play for. Dallas still jockeying for position. Where are you going here? Really quickly, Andrew.
Prez, I don't think the players necessarily like this situation, but I think the coaches do. In the short time that I covered some stuff here where I live, I talked to coaches that would have to deal with playing the same team in the same spot back-to-back days. They said to me they love it. They love watching film, love going over tape. They love going over kind of the tactics. You get to improve on what you did wrong in the previous game. This is, of course, the back-to-back, as we talked about. I don't want to go on with a side. This is the one where I take the under. Seattle got embarrassed. They didn't play well defensively. They can't go goal for goal with Dallas. Give me the under 6.5. It's at DraftKings. There are some 6s out there. Shop around for 6.5s.
What do you got to promote?
NHL 2-pack for tonight. Again, number 3 in the NHL overall this year. And we're 69% on the year with 5% plays. Looking at one for tomorrow night. Looking forward to it, Prez. Thanks for having me on. And good luck with that new show, man. I'll be watching.
Awesome. Andrew McInnis, everyone, is as good as it gets and such a freaking nice guy. Mike R. writes, fade Prez today. Why? Because I'm on an 11-1 run and he thinks I'm going to digress. I understand. But in order to fade me, you need to buy my package. So, Mike, go buy my package. Fade my plays. Fade 2 of them. Bet 2 of them. Fade all 4. Bet all 4. Do nothing. Shove them all up your tuchus. Just head over to WagerTalk and grab those plays. I'm Lawrence Presman. You're watching WagerTalk Today, and we have the most awesome dude ever coming up right now, Gianni The Greek, my man. My man! How are you?
Right.
How are you, brother?
Never better. I'm actually haven't been able to eat or drink anything all morning because I got to get an endoscopy in 2 hours. So I'll be put under for a little bit.
So I'm going to go out on a limb and say you have been better. Gianni, when you respond with never better on a daily basis, it really detracts from how good you actually are. Let's be honest.
I'm coming off
You're
really
amazing every day.
hot. So I'm excited to go get the clean slate bill of health. Like I did all my yearly exams and everything. Everything came back
Nice.
on like great. And now it's the final thing because I've been having, my stomach issues. So I'm excited about it, honestly. I'm not like worried about it, but it's just taking time out of my busy day. That's the only negative.
Well, I'll tell you right off the bat, and I'm no doctor or psychologist, and I know you've had your physical examination, but I've known you for 10 years, and emotionally, this is the best you've ever been. So I mean, physically, I'm praying for you, but man, you are a happy guy these days. So shout out to your woman. She is doing a great job. Gianni The Greek joining us. So, brother, how was your weekend?
Great. I'm coming off 10 straight winners, 10 in a row. Yesterday I swept. I think I went 6-0. Yeah, the baseball, I knew it was going to happen this year in baseball, Prez. I'm coming off like the one losing year overall, one losing baseball year in the last 5, finished number 1 in 2 of the last 4. Like I get really, really, really good baseball stuff. I've done a lot of my own with baseball. I know how to narrow down where I think the value's still there from the stuff that I'm moving. So I'm really excited over these next few months. And more importantly, I got my subscribers on 2 futures. We got Auburn, Prez, and Houston to cut down the nets on opposite ends of the bracket. So we have a shot now. Now I have to make a decision between now and next Monday how we're going to play those. But we are sitting on 2 nice futures, one at plus 750, one at plus 550. So hopefully we could turn some profit out of that and keep piling on for 2025.
Yeah, great. Holding those in your pocket. Listen, I'm cheering for Auburn as a fan. With that said, I'm not a fan of any of these teams. I'm just a fan of the coach of Auburn. I'd like to hear more from him. He is my hero right now. I don't want to get into why, because it's, touchy stuff. But I'm sure a lot of you guys know.
Yep.
Shout out to Bruce Pearl. Shout out to Bruce Pearl, baby. Okay, Gianni, my man, let's go. We got 4 Crown college basketball games, new tournament, really quite a messy tournament, noisy, if you will, with the portal and the coaches and whatnot. And somebody asked, Prez, how do you bet a tournament like this where you don't know who's playing? We know. How do you bet? We're professionals. This is literally, I dream of these scenarios, Gianni. I don't want to be like everybody else where I know the name of every starter on the Sacramento Kings. I love that there's all these variables that require more work and harder diligence. These variables provide us with great betting value as professionals who study this shit. So with that said, how do we attack the 4 games tonight?
Well, I think we're a little bit skewed off of what we've seen in the NCAA men's tournament, meaning people are afraid now to bet an underdog. Since Sweet 16, Elite 8 favorites are 12-0 straight up.
Yeah.
Yes. So you're seeing bettors lining up to bet these favorites, and that's what you've seen so far today. Like you're seeing money on Houston. That's probably Utah, forgive me. Utah has been bet by the betting syndicates. It's getting bet by some of the public, at least early on. But I think that's going to change. I think you're going to get a lot more Butler money from the recreational bettors as we get closer to tip-off. That's what stuck out the most. The Utah side from the sharp bettors, 2 different groups confirmed it. They laid the 1, 1.5, 2. They bet the money line. So they really like Utah over Butler. The other thing that stuck out is they got out on every single over. Now, I don't think every single over is a legit move, but if it's that kind of also like tournament where it takes a lot more effort to play defense, we know that, and it's kind of more like that schoolyard style of play, I'm not surprised to see them come out on these overs because I think that's where the public's going to go. They're going to go over on every single one of these games, and that's why we've seen the totals move 2+ points in every single one. Some of them 3-4 points. I think if you're looking at an over, you probably missed the boat. Now it's time to sit back and look for one of these overs that get a little bit out of line and take advantage of the under. Kind of like I did with my subscribers with Duke and Alabama the other day. I sat back and let them bet it all the way up to 75, 76. And I said, come in, take a 5% play on the under. There's no way this late in the tournament should the total be off by 5 points just based on what happened in their last games. Obviously, it worked out well for me, but I think you take that same approach here. How off could the number have been? And look for that sign to
Right.
go under, not follow that steam over. Take advantage of the big move towards the overs. Because I'm telling you, they're betting these overs on Georgetown, Washington State, Nebraska, Arizona State, George Washington and Boise State, and Utah Butler. Every single one, Prez. 8 out of 10 tickets. 80 plus, now it's like 90+% of the money. Over. There's got to be a point where the unders decide. And once you move that significantly, it's not going to be hard to find an under where there's some value. That's what I'm looking to do. Peg 1 or 2 of these games that the total's now gotten out ahead. Because again, George Washington could go over 154.5, 155.5, 156.5, and still go under the 160.5 that it's sitting at right now. That's the beauty of it. So for me, I'm looking under on those.
Gianni, 8 NBA games, 4 NHL games, a whole slate of baseball. I'm just going to kick back and listen to you tell us where all the money is going across all these sports.
Perfect. Here's what has been shared in NBA. I haven't released anything to subscribers, but this is definitely sharp stuff. 501 under 222 all the way to 220 Utah Charlotte. 503 Clippers minus the 1.5 and minus the 2. Oklahoma City laying the 13.5, laying the 14. Brooklyn taking Brooklyn at plus 11, 10.5 and plus 10. And finally, Houston Lakers under 225. Major League Baseball, 3 legit moves, multiple groups. 903 over 8 up to minus 125. Mets Miami. 919 under 8.5. Washington Toronto also good to minus 125. And then 922 St. Louis minus 135 and 140. A couple more. 906 Dodgers minus 190. Don't be misled by the misconception that wise guys don't lay favorites in the Major League Baseball. Nothing could be further from the truth. They'll lay a minus 250 if they think the true line should be minus 310. Do that all single day. But most recreational bettors shouldn't be betting chalk unless they have a lot of conviction, because that's how you get yourself in trouble. If your average closing line's minus 200, you got to cash 2 out of 3 tickets just to break even.
Yeah.
So that means you got to be hitting at a 75% win percentage. That's why we urge most recreational bettors to not attack these big favorites, because they could put you behind very easily. Finally, another big favorite, 918 Tampa Bay minus 170, 180, and 2 quick totals, 907 under 8 Minnesota White Sox, under 8.5 and 8 San Francisco and Houston. All sharp stuff in Major League Baseball. That's what they're attacking more than anything else.
Right.
Up until the NBA playoffs, rest assured, that's where the money is to be made. And these added college basketball games, like you said, that's difficult to quantify because there's a lot more factors that we have to fill in. And whenever that's the case, there's always that chance that you have that nugget that's not factored into the line and you could get an edge. I agree with you 100% there.
Guys, you heard Gianni talk at the beginning about how good he is at baseball. We have a promo up. Try him out. $49 for 7 days of Gianni's baseball. There's no promo code required. Trust me on this. Try this man out. Use that promo code on a few guys. I mean, Crack is amazing. Tokyo Brandon is amazing. Gianni's amazing. Brian Leonard's great at baseball as well. It's a great promo. 7 days, $49. Try a few guys out. See which ones you like. Gianni, anything to promote? And then we got to call it a show.
Yeah, I got my MMA package is already up because I got a 5% in there. And
nice.
15 and 6. Over the last 365 days, 71%. I gave 21 of those out in MMA, hit 15 of those, over 40 units of profit, over 38% ROI. I'm very selective. I don't think I've given a 5% MMA in the last month, but this one jumped off the page. There's still enough line value to take advantage of, and I just tossed a 3% dog in there while I was listening to Andrew before coming on. So excited about the MMA coming up, excited about the Final Four, and we're going to do damage in baseball day in, day out, baby. So good times to be involved. Jump on board. Tomorrow's class number 3 of Blackjack. get a little more advanced in the counting.
There we go. Gianni The Greek, everyone. What a freaking show. Shout out to the Krackman, Andrew McInnis, Adam Trigger, and Gianni The Greek. Tomorrow's show, Steve Merrill, College Hoops and NBA, Carmine Bianco, NHL, Paul Moti, some cricket. The Indian Premier League is underway. Andy Lang and Gianni The Greek. Make sure to check out Blue Line, everybody, a new NHL show. It's up at WagerTalk TV. It's myself and Matthew Barnaby with Andy Lang making an appearance. Thank you all for watching. On behalf of Dan Alexander and myself, it's lunchtime.